The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to Old Space Show. You missed us, you know it. I'm Brandon, and this is my co-captain, Jim Dietz.
Olds in space.
So the Old Space Show continues our episode by episode travelogue through the second season of Space 1998 plus 1, where the moon is knocked out of orbit, wandering through outer space, the population of its human-built colony hoping to stumble upon a new home. Today, we are talking about the 6th episode, The Taybor.
A boisterous, flamboyant, larger-than-life trader from hyperspace makes a remarkable appearance on the moon and falls in love with Maya.
This one is directed by Bob Brooks, written by Tom Keyes, and guest star, and this is a name, Willoughby Goddard.
I know. I was looking up this guy earlier, and he's every chubby guy in every British movie from 1950 to 1986.
Yeah, he's got he's got that quote unquote long storied career in British television,
Yes.
including Blackadder, Young Sherlock Holmes, and 2 episodes of The Avengers. I saw this guy as of the Brian Blessed type of acting. He's the big guy with the, I want you to know I'm in every scene.
I'm going to project my voice from deep with my diaphragm. But in fact, you know what? The funny thing is, when you hear his voice at the beginning of this episode, I thought for a second, I'm like, another episode with Brian Blessed? No way. But it turned out to be this guy instead. But he was in Young Sherlock Holmes, Jabberwocky, quite a few movies, as well as his long storied career in British entertainment and British television. British television entertainment, yes. And
I'm not trying to, I don't want to I don't mean this in some sort of body shaming way, but this guy's the perfect shape of a ball. It's incredible. Yeah.
It's remarkably grimace shaped.
Yeah, it's weird.
From the McDonaldland creatures, yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking ball form.
Now, did Tony's character Tony get a featuring credit yet? Because I think this is the first time we've seen that.
Oh,
it says featuring Tony Anholt.
Well,
at the beginning. So,
looks like he's on for the long haul.
Because the credits, are Martin and Barbara, and then Catherine Schell, of course, is Maya. But then when you go to the other smaller credits, it says featuring Tony Anholt. You got billed even before the guest star in this episode.
Interesting.
They must have really pinned their hopes on Tony Anholt selling the show.
If they went to season 3, he'd be in the opening title sequence. Ooh. So this Brooks guy who directed, we got it's interesting, the writer-director, because they both didn't do much. Mm-hmm. He directs another episode this season. He directs the film Tattoo, starring Bruce Dern and Maude Adams. He did a TV movie, a TV documentary, and a commercial. And that's his career. Wow, okay. And then
oh my God, I've seen the movie you directed, Tattoo.
Yeah, Tattoo. Yeah. I was like, what is it? I'm like, oh, I know this one. I don't know if I've seen it, but I recognize the imagery and Bruce Dern with the tattoo on himself.
Yeah. It was very much one of the staples of early cable TV.
Gotcha. Keyes, he didn't write much, but I'm going to point out he's got a big spotlight here. He wrote the Lucio Fulci adaptation of White Fang starring Franco Nero.
Wow.
That's awesome. Street cred right there. Get that guy at your convention. He's alive. I don't know. I was like, wait, White Fang in the 70s? I'm like, it couldn't be. I'm like, it is the Lucio Fulci one. because he's got some weird stuff before he goes to horror. And Branco Nero, world renowned.
It's a small world after all. It's all connected.
It's all connected. It's all happening. Here's an interesting character enters the fray in this episode. Bill Fraser. He's got a couple lines. Do you know why we have Bill Fraser, Jim?
No, please tell me, enlighten me.
So our boy Nick Tate, who plays Alan Carter, when he was supposed to be let go, they were trying to overhaul the cast except for Martin Landau, Barbara Bain.
Right, because we got the Asian woman has been swapped out for Sandra now.
Yes. So they were trying to the people they had in contracts, but Fred Freiberger was told the fans love Alan Carter. You can't let him go. And so he got kept, and he wasn't
so rugged.
He wasn't in the plans for some of the stuff. And Nick Tate complained. He said, I better be a part of episodes, and I'm not going to tolerate, background, all this stuff. He got the script for this one. He had 2 lines. So he went off with his wife or his girlfriend on a ski trip, not to return, and just disappeared. We know now he was there, but he just disappeared, didn't show up to production. So they replaced him with Bill Fraser. And so Nick Tate basically went on a personal strike for 2 productions. So the episode they shot after this one, which is called The Brain of Something, whatever. It's not the episode that follows this in our series. He is absent, and Bill Fraser takes his spot.
Check you dropping the serious behind the scenes science, my friend.
Yeah, Alan Carter. He just
scoops
a badass.
that Space 1999 scoop. Yeah,
and as you mentioned, Yasuko Nagazumi plays Yasko, and I don't know if she could convince somebody she could walk through a door on screen.
Okay.
I don't know if it's I don't know her lines. Maybe it's some tough dialogue for her to get across, but it was.
I don't. We won't say she was hired for her looks, but some people are.
Right.
Some people are. So
we have a couple episodes so far in our recording block with her, and it just when she goes to speak, the show stops dead in its tracks. Oh man, okay. It's almost like when you make what people used to think of these shows and parody them with stuff. It's oh man, some of it was based on reality. But yeah, I hate to harp on it, but I was man, poor girl. But yeah, she joins the crew. Before this event,
Sandra.
Yeah, bye. Later. Have fun with Bergman or Paul, because Paul's somewhere.
Paul and Bergman.
Paul Bergman, all the gang. So this one we have the adventure we go on. There's a strange glowing metallic object that's appearing throughout Alpha. These little things appear. People pick them up and are like, ah. We also have another sauna room and
it's no.
A crew of supermodels
it's the solarium area. There's a big sign that says solarium area right on the wall. And it happens to be stacked with 1970s showgirls.
Yes, what is this?
In very tiny bikinis, just wandering around. I'm like, oh, this must be the Alpha Bikini team or something.
Yeah, what? And, I was just wait, what? All of them? Where they hide every episode?
I could just see Fred Freiberger. Give us something for the gentlemen and for some of the ladies too.
Yes. For the ladies, for the guys.
But they're playing this weird light 70s. I wrote down light 70s porn jazz while they're sunbathing and stuff. It's rather serious.
Freiberger's that's for the kid who catches this on late night reruns.
There you go.
Get him in the mood. But yeah, so they pick up these things, they get burned, blinded, and
killer knickknacks.
Yeah, Koenig's stop picking shit up on the Alpha.
Oh wait! No! I gotta write this. I wrote this down. Okay, objects found have been small and multicolored and maybe glowing. Do not touch. Repeat. Do not touch.
And then Helena was
down.
like, "Ooh, Commander Koenig." So just after he does that, Alpha gets contacted by those mysterious voices that always contact Moonbase Alpha.
They always know their name and they always speak English. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they ask permission to land, but they can't find anything on the scanners. So Koenig's like, no. And then a bright colored ship materializes, and Koenig's like, identify yourself.
Oh, wait a minute. You're selling the ship short, my friend.
Okay.
This looks like a large orange Christmas ornament that had been decorated by Ed Hardy.
Right.
It had like little flames. Did you notice that? It had like little flames in the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Hot Wheels or something. I'm just like, okay, dude, what is this with your... No.
The flames don't fit the guy who drives it, too.
No, not at all.
He's a very colorful man, but that just screams some other direction. Maybe that was his teen years.
Taybor.
So Koenig, the guy materializes in the command center. And he's like, I am Taybor, the traitor. And traitor, as in I'll give you this if you give me that, traitor. Not like I will turn you over to the bad guys, traitor. But this guy is like, I called him a purple-haired strawberry shortcake man who is DTF.
No, sir, I'm sorry. This is a Food Club Orson Welles cosplaying as Princess Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony.
We're both in the My Little Pony and Strawberry Shortcake are very much in the same era.
It's that color. It's exactly the same color purple as Twilight Sparkle. My daughter's a big MLP head, so I know it. And he had like a little hairs coming off the top, to almost like Twilight Sparkle's unicorn horn.
Unicorn horn, yeah. Okay.
You really thought of that, and then his moo looked like it was made from an old Ouija board or something.
Yeah, it is wild.
And I'm not a healthy man by any stretch, but he was a rather round figure. So he's got the bright hair, the moo. It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, a vibe is right. Yeah, you sit back, like you see him, and you're like, okay, where's this going? Like, what is this episode going to be?
And I also love that all of his technology was powered by the rainbow of fruit flavor. Like everything he did had the same rainbow effect of like fruit striped gum.
Well, I wrote down that this episode is a very colorful kaleidoscope episode. It felt like some of it was inspired by the record store in A Clockwork Orange. Like,
maybe, yeah, like his like when we get to when he's on their ship, yeah, I could see that.
Right,
but just every time he did anything, like when he just his technology was all like that same rainbow color stuff. It was hilarious. I thought like the HR Puffin stuff was going to hop out of it or some stuff.
Yeah. So they have this like little standoff to meet each other where they're like, here's some stun guns. He's like, check out this cannon. And, but it's the cannon's an illusion.
Now Koenig gets really kind of Kirkian with him in this scene. I wrote a little note about that because he's like, he pulls out the stun gun, then he pulls out the big gun, and he's like, why would you destroy us if you came here to land on our planet? He's just like kind of very confrontational and very much Captain Kirk in that scene.
Oh, they very Captain Kirked him this season. Like,
and I really noticed it here.
Yeah. He said like Taybor meant like his gifts to be well received, but they weren't. And so he's amazed that the Alphans could be harmed by his toys. They had color-coded safety instructions. Like, okay. And Helena's like...
But they didn't, though, because the one just looked like a Mylar hourglass, and the other one looked like a big D&D dice.
Yeah.
And, like, they didn't have anything. They were all one color.
They look like when you're reading a storybook or seeing some, like, old-school Christmas thing and kids open gifts, and you're like, what the hell is that? And they're like, it's a toy, a fun toy. You're like, no, I would be pissed.
Doesn't look like a toy.
Doesn't look like, what kind of toy is that? But he's like, you know what? All that stuff, it's temporary. You'll be fine. And he wants some refreshments before they can begin their trade session. And guess what's back? Tony's Brew House.
I was going to say it's an ongoing theme now. You also forgot that this is where he starts to get all Harvey Weinstein with Maya.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. This is
He
like
gets. I wrote Me Too moments with Maya.
and not our first episode with that. So we had that.
Taybor really likes Maya.
Oh yeah, he does.
In fact, when they're at the at drinking Tony's beer, as you mentioned, like he puts his hand on her leg, and then she turns her hand into like a monster paw or something. It looked like a Yeti paw, and like grabbed him in the male area.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it was shot to look like that's where she grabbed him. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So during this sharing a flight of Tony beers, they're like, well, how do we not detect your ship? And he's like, well, I got hyperspace. And he's like, I can go anywhere. And Conan's like, well, you know what? We might want to trade for hyperspace. Our Eagles could have it. We go back to Earth. And he's like, ha ha ha. They wouldn't understand his technology. And he's like, you know what? And then he like passes out before they can talk about it more. But hyperspace, very different in pre-Star Wars land, but also, I mean, different than Star Trek world too. Traveling at light speed, hyperspace. So Koenig, the next day, asked Taybor if he could return the Alphans to Earth, but without universal quadrants, routing angles, subcluster, and spin drift, Tabor's unable to fix the coordinates for the jump. So
plus,
he's like,
Taybor doesn't know how the drive works, right? They're like,
yeah,
well, give us the schematics, teach us how to make one. He's like, dude, do you know how you're. Would you be able to build a car? Would you be able to build your spaceship? I don't know how it works.
Right.
I just press this button and it goes,
Yeah. And he's like, you know what? Why don't you, hey, old chum, why don't you come on my ship and I'll show you how it works. And then Koenig's like, all right, I'll give you, he's like, I'll give you anything you want for the jump drive. And Tabor's like, I want Maya. Although he's more like, I want Maya.
Like the whole moon. He's like, nah. Oh, Maya.
I could give you the moon, but I just want her. And Koenig's like, no Maya. And he's like, but I could offer you something like Maya.
Oh, wait a minute. First, you didn't talk about what his ship looked like on the inside.
Oh yeah. This is the Clockwork Orange record store. Yeah.
It looks like a disco flea market in there. It looks like a bargain basement version of the Collector from the Marvel Universe.
Oh no,
he's got like every 70s giga and like it was like probably a whole wing of his ship. There's nothing but disco balls.
I'm surprised that we didn't see a camera in there because there's so much reflective stuff in there and clear. Like it's amazing there wasn't a reflection of a cameraman or something in there.
No, but I saw some repurposed stuff from other episodes. Like I saw some of the Zyklon poles full of liquids.
Yeah,
in the background of one of the shelves. So they were like kind of reusing some of the stuff on this set, but it was just like full of crap, like 70s futuristic crap. That's the best way to describe it.
And then there's like a cloak of like rainbow that goes around the ship to make it go to hyperspace. And then we got a bunch of shots of like the little moon buggy and model guys sitting on it unconvincingly.
Right.
They're model like way too close up. Way too close up to show that.
And he shows him the jump drive, and it looks like a loose sight bowling ball.
Yes.
Like here's the jump drive. Take a look. And he's like, okay.
So
it's a see-through bowling ball.
So also here, he offers a Maya's likeness, which we see that
I have 3 letters written right here at this part. WTF. Okay. Why? How? What? Huh?
They make robots on Alpha?
They made they make like an android robot perfect version of Maya to give this guy.
In what I called the Space 1999, the room that I call the Space 1999 Community Theater presents Star Wars: The Death Star. That looked like a nice, adorable, cheap mock-up. Like if a sketch show was trying to in the 70s was trying to do a Star Wars sketch. Sure. That's what even though this predates Star Wars, it looked like the Death Star paneling and stuff like that. But they have her head there, and and Maya's sitting next to it. It's bizarre.
I still can't get over this. And I mean, I couldn't get over watching it, and I can't get over thinking about it now. So their solution is to build an android replica of Maya that's perfect in every way. But this is the first time they've ever even mentioned, hinted at, or even shown that they have any kind of capability to do this at all.
At all.
Now. And then they do it in like 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes. They show her, he's like, sitting next to herself in a process shot, right? And they're like, oh, we're done. I'm like, okay.
And the fact that not only can they do this, they can do it for the alien they just recently picked up for their journey.
Yeah,
that they apparently it works for a humanoid alien too. But this would have come in handy in some other episodes. They could have tricked people in some trade-offs we've seen before. Like, okay,
could have sent androids in and dangerous missions where it could have affected their life.
It's something you only use in desperate times, and apparently the Taybor was the guy. It's like, we need to do it.
I guess it's like an espresso machine. You don't use it all the time, but when you do, every once in a while, it's nice to have.
So they do that, and he gets his Maya bot, and he gets for it. Helena gets a bottle of perfume, and
and they give Koenig and Tony a lucite pyramid that looks like the bowling ball from before.
Right, and Maya gets a necklace, the real Maya, and when he does transport Maya to the Emporium, the real Maya.
Wait a minute. Before all this happens, though. While he's doing a little sale there in the community theater room there at Space Moonbase Alpha, and he's selling all this different stuff to people. While he's doing that, Koenig, or a model of Koenig on the moon buggy, is wheeling out to his ship and putting this little transmitter on the bottom of it.
Right.
And wheeling back before anyone notices.
Right. Yep.
It's an important. I'm sorry, but it's an important plot point.
Important detail. It is. It is. So,
but evidently the perfume is so funny because it's like, gee, you think he might be double crossing everybody? I don't know.
This guy seems so trustworthy.
Pretty necklace erases Maya's memory and identity. It turns out the perfume turns Helen into a horny MILF.
Right. Yes.
Pardon the expression, I'm sorry.
And also, even just taking a whiff of it, Koenig is taken in by it too.
They're both like, oh my God. I'm so in lust. I'm in middle-age lust with you.
This is like the trailer on the set between shoots. Oh.
Tell me about your equity rating. Tell me about your APR. Tell me about your credit. What's your credit score?
Oh yeah, and the horniness is just blunt and out there with these two.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
But it reminded me of I try to stay away from MST references when we do these, but there's a line from a movie in there that just made me think of it. It's like, oh, the white hot indifference.
Yes.
Because they're married in real life.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have better on-screen chemistry than they do, but they really kind of don't.
No.
It's weird.
But at least this season's forcing it a lot more.
It's definitely in the forefront.
Yeah, it's definitely the forefront. So the Emporium, Taybor is intending to leave with the real Maya, and Coney's like, no, you can't. And he's like, nope, you can have the duplicate back. And she explodes, which is kind of cool. You see all the robot insides. Yeah.
Very Westworld moment there. Yeah. Face melted away.
And Taybor goes to hyperspace, and Maya turns into a dog. That didn't work, and she gets put in a glass case. And then
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
There's a part in this where he's like, "Oh, she's a metamorph. I had no idea." Blah, 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 blah. But I noticed at least a couple times she changed in front of him.
Yeah.
Like the one time at the dinner when she turns her hand into a monster hand and stuff, and it's like he's like this huge deal. Oh, she's also a metamorph. I'm like, dude, if you've been paying attention, no, I mean,
don't you know what it is you were wanting?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well, Tom
I
Key.
try to impose my sense on these things that make no sense, Brandon.
Hey, Tom Keyes only wrote 4 scripts in his career. What can I say? Maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. There must be a reason for that.
So Koenig then convinces Maya hey, he only likes things of beauty except the mirror, and that's why.
But the way he says it, I'm sorry. He says he only likes things that are beautiful, like it's a code word or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, do they have some code secrets worked out ahead of time they're going to talk about later? No. Mm-hmm.
Well, and she turns into a female version of Taybor, which just repulses him. She's like, I'm gonna be with you forever. And he's like, no, go back to Alpha. Done with you. And that's how they defeat the great Taybor. That's all it took.
Harrison J. Mudd. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, yeah. Very much, yes, very true. All the stuff that Taybor gave them vanishes, and the Alphen stuff comes back, and the diagram for the jump drive disappears right out of Koenig's hands.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Tabor's a poor sport after all. And then Helena's like, they should be beware of traitors bearing gifts. And then Koenig's like, yes, think about that perfume Taybor gave you. And she's like, keep thinking. She says, we don't need Tabor's perfume. And
15 yards, attempted banter, first down. I'm sorry. They keep trying to have this banter in this show. Like the bit with Tony's beard, we don't need perfume.
It comes off like
so
Mom, stop.
Grandma, get down from the stripper pole, Grandma.
Mom. Yeah. So yeah, that's this weird episode. So it's not much of an episode, but
it's one of those episodes that's just all based on the alien encounter, and this time it happened to be a very flamboyant,
I said it's decently enjoyable thanks to the big and boisterous Willoughby Goddard and commanding the whole episode. Tony's in this and he picks up where that guy cannot deliver. He really covers him up and allows Tony to be in scenes that he's never usually. I mean, he's still the same in this, but you've got this other guy. It's got some colorful sets and effects, robot, some weird sexual stuff. It's this episode is the furthest thing from what the show was the previous season. But it's kind of odd that I enjoyed it. But it's so weird. It's in my wheelhouse, I guess. I'm not saying this is a great episode of Space 1999. It was just well, that's entertainment, and I don't mean a backhanded compliment. I was just you know what? It was lacking in so many areas, but excelled in the weird factor for me and the sets.
It reminded me very much in structure of the trope of the Western show that had the trader, the snake oil salesman come to town, right?
Yeah.
And then leave, and oh, well, yeah, maybe what he really sold us was the love in our hearts for each other, blah,
right.
blah, blah. So it was that kind of trope for me. But Willoughby really sold it for me.
Yeah, it's all on the guest star. It worked. I don't know that I remember this guy from anything else, but he worked for me here. I was like, what else is this guy in? I'm like, okay, Avengers, okay. But yeah, I'm okay with this episode.
It was all right.
So that'll do it for another Moon Buggy adventure. In the meantime, Jim, what's going on with you here on the interwebs?
Oh my God, so much. Every week you can catch me on Nothing's On, the Nothing's On podcast with Daryl Taylor and Johnny Salvo. We go humorously through every week's worth of entertainment news. And of course, this week we're going to be talking about Dune and some other things, but a lot of Dune talk, probably. And also check me out on the Walking Dead TV podcast at hswlod.com. We're covering Fear of the Walking Dead, which oddly enough has become a really good show, and Walking Dead World Beyond as well. So you got Lenny James, David Carradine, David Carradine, Keith Carradine. I'm very sorry.
Well, as a zombie show, it could have happened.
Yeah, right? It could, I guess. Jenna Elfman's on there now. Really good. They had John Glover was on there for a while.
Dang.
Fear has become a really, really good show. So Walking Dead TV podcast, we've been watching it since the very beginning. We will be there until the very end. So check that out. That is also a weekly podcast available at hhwlod.com.
All right. Hashtag Sterillas1999. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work of WhySoBlue.com. There's more from the Brandon Peters Show this week. But until then...
Alpha out.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.